Oh shoot, this relationship is going somewhere. That's what that tells me. Making the sacrifice. What are we making the sacrifice of, Scorpio? What are we having to let go of this time around? What are we going to have to release? Let me go ahead and read the affirmation. This reading is not going to take very long to get through because it's very clear what's going down. Because, yeah, y'all are just making sacrifices for the greater good for yourself. And that's good. You know, doing what you want to do. All right. Make the sacrifice. You will not achieve the outcome you desire if you are unwilling to act upon your intentions. It is not as simple as wanting something to happen or believing that it will happen. You have to make it happen. And to make it happen, like we saw the tower, and to make it happen requires that you be willing and ready to do whatever is necessary to, no matter the sacrifice. Everything happens, for everything you desire, you must give of yourself in return. Family. So we already seen the Five of Swords come up in there, right? Like I said before, what agenda is worth keeping? What intentions are you worth keeping and worth letting go of? And that's part of that sacrifice. You're gonna have to let go of something, and the stubbornness has got to go with it. Right? The intimacy of having it one way or the highway, it has to go with it. And I think that may not be you. Some of you guys may be dealing with somebody else that's like that. And I feel like that somebody's trying to get everything that they want, but at the same time, they have to make certain sacrifices in order for them to get to that thing, which has a lot to do with the reason why there may be doubts, whether or not this is something they really want to do or not. So, the mentality here for both sides, we're going to get started with. This is typically the side I work with here for my clients and I do offer this reading here on Instant Go. So if you want one of your own, go ahead and click the description box below there. But this is typically you, Scorpio, that I read, and the other person's this side here. But it's up to you. Considering this is a general reading, this is a reading for everybody, and this is for as many eyes that can see. And if this side don't resonate with you, happily go over here. Right? It's totally up to you. But typically during a traditional read, I would just stick with this side as the client. Okay. But the mentality going into this relationship with either you or the other person, Scorpio, is the King of Pentacles. So you're already very committed to this relationship. Determined, committed, hardcore, like souls, right? You know your worth, you know your value, you know exactly what this relationship means to you. You have a very strong will when it comes to this relationship, a strong intention for this relationship. And I feel like you guys see yourselves as the provider for this relationship as well, as someone that's the rock, someone that's stable, someone that is definitely ready to settle down. You know what I mean? Some of you guys may have your own families already, or maybe have kids, or maybe you're starting to have kids. Maybe this is you guys in the process of being a family man or family woman, or family whoever. Okay, but King of Pentacles is talking about literally going into this situation with your mentality being focused on the stability, the values, family values, value in yourself, value in, it's very focused on the practical, yes. But I think, that is partially what maybe, you may be releasing, but also understanding and knowing your confidence, understanding your independence. This other person is very similar to you because it's got the Nine of Pentacles here. Perfectly confident in themselves, but they may be stuck in a little comfort zone here. Enthralled with their, with being safe. Some of this, this person may be feeling like they're kind of, they may be feeling single in a relationship. They may be feeling single here. Because the underlying energy is with the King of Cups. The King of Cups is all about love, all about feelings, all about those emotions, right? He knows how he feels. He knows what to do with them. He knows what to do with them. He knows the importance of having them. He understands the importance of releasing them as well. He's all about an ebb and flow. As a matter of fact, King of Cups is you, Scorpio. So you're the focus of this relationship, as well as the commitment, what you're focusing on, what your hardcore beliefs on, what do you feel and deeply are emotionally tied to. Some of you guys, this is like you guys really feeling that emotion, right? Really, very much not attached to people, but you're just deeply enthralled in your emotions with this relationship, right? There's some deep hidden emotions, not hidden, but you feel some deepness in this relationship, right? Like your Scorpio energy has definitely taken charge in this relationship. And the mentality going into this has a lot to do with being the provider, being the person that's stable, wanting to stabilize the relationship for the other person, right? Because you're not just looking out for yourself with the King of Pentacles. You're also looking to be generous. So you have things to give. You have love to give. And it's because your cup is full of love, which is excellent, right? But the cup's full of your own love. Excuse me, I'm sneezing. But the other person here may be kind of sticking within a comfort zone, kind of afraid, not necessarily afraid to get out of it, but they're just kind of sitting there. They're confident in themselves. They're very aware of their value as well. They know their accomplishments and what they're capable of doing. But the thing is that they're still in the comfort zone. Now, what's interesting is that they show the King of Wands. They're obviously showing that they know that they're confident. They feel really good in themselves. They feel very proud of themselves as well. This person is also very active and very energetic. They have this go, go, go mentality. And I like that. It's really good. The King of Wands can also indicate this person is very attractive and very alluring in their energies. They're very good at what they do with their emotions. The King of Cups is like I said, the King of Cups, he knows what to do with them, and the King of Wands knows how to use them. Okay, it's different. So I think this person is definitely letting their emotions be their influence, right? They're very passionate individuals, and they do what they want to do. And they're very proud of themselves. They're very proud of that, and they have a very stubborn streak as well. Could be a Leo here or an Aquarius. But they don't have to be. Could be Aries or Sagittarius or even Gemini or Libra. Or even Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. But the whole thing is like, this is about the relationship, and everybody's feeling very, confident in themselves, feeling very, comfortable. But for you, Scorpio, you have death, which is your energy. You're definitely showing your energy here. Very cleansing, very open, and very open to new life. You're not just releasing just the old, but you're also bringing in new. Like, you're open to the possibility of new life. You're very open to that. And I feel like you're also changing routines. You're changing things about, not just changing things about yourself, but you're releasing the old so you can have a new. So this, which makes sense why you're making all these sacrifices, right? Why the sacrifices coming up, the releasing of the old, making space. And I think a lot of you guys are, you're trying to make space. Some of you guys, the King of Pentacles is very stuck, can be very stuck energy. Obviously it's fixed, and the King of Cups, all this energy is fixed energy. And I feel like you guys are both very, very, very strong-willed and very, very stubborn, very stubborn. And the fact of the matter is, it's like, I think there are some things that you guys are just not going to buckle with. I think there's some things that you guys work immensely great with, and you know it. But there's also some things that it's hard to break free from or adjust because of the past. Because look at what brought you two together for a second. We have the Three of Pentacles. You guys came together because you guys worked well together. You've seen a future together. You've seen that there could be potential, great potential in the relationship between you and this individual. But the thing that's keeping you from moving forward is the past. It's either the fact that you guys have been together before and that didn't work out, or the fact that there is this past relationship that's something that from the past that still lingers on. Now, the potential for this, here's the thing, the past could be the situation, right? The fact that there was one thing that, there was something that, was very passionate to you, very close to you, very precious to you, in a relationship in the past, anyway. Or this is something that reminds you of a time when you were happy, and you're trying to get there the ways that the ways that are old, the ways that probably don't work no more. Because this is someone else that's coming in that has very strong values, that has they're not willing to buckle, like they're not willing to, flex, not willing to expand, and you may have to be the person to make the sacrifices only because this person's so adamant about going their own way. Because they have the Nine of Pentacles. They're in their own world. They're in their own fortress. They have their own belief systems, right? Now, like I said, but you're releasing stuff. You're making room. This person's already got very strong belief systems, so strong like moral values. They're very, very adamant about having something. They're very stubborn in their own right. But in order for this to work, both parties cannot be stubborn. I mean, they can be, but we'll see how long they last. Because if there's no one to give the relationship, give them themselves, then there's nothing going on. And I do feel like you feel drawn to this individual. The King of Cups is coming up in this reading. But the thing is like there's a lot of stuff that you're keeping up too. But this is old issues as well. Not old issues. There's old stuff that's still keeping you from being able to embrace the new. Because death can indicate that there is, there's progress, there's releasing of the old. Some of you guys are definitely doing that. You guys are definitely leaving the old behind. You're working on, making that transition, allowing space to come in. A lot of you guys aren't. But then some of you guys, for what I'm reading this reading as, and what the energy I'm feeling for this, some of you guys in this, and not all of you, please understand, some of you are still holding on to the past. You're still holding on to it, and you're being very stubborn with it. And that's the same reason. No, it's very similar. Like, think about it. Every soulmate, practically, most soulmates are mirrors. So the fact that this person is very stubborn and not willing to come out of their comfort zone, same difference. Same way. And even though you're trying to get to a new outcome, a different, to a new beginning in love, and start to heal yourself and start to, build on spiritual growth for yourself, you got to let go of this past stuff too. You got to let go of the reason why you're not willing to budge, because you got commitments and routines and things that, yes, you are aware that work, but it may not be what's going to get you to where you want to be, right? Which is seeing what this future really has to offer between the both of you by making it happen. You know what I mean? Now, we saw that Tower earlier, and there's the things that are going to have to radically change. And that thing that has to radically change is yourself. You can't make this person change. This person is not going to even allow that change to happen. But you have to change yourself in order for them to consider it. Think about it like that. And it's not to manipulate them. It's about changing yourself so that you could be free. And if they don't want to buckle up, if they don't want to open up and, accept different ideas, that's on them. Because that may not be, because then, the right person will come to you if they're not willing to be open. But the situation here is that you cannot control them, and you staying buckled up and tight because of some old stuff that honestly is not going to serve you anyway. That old stuff that's not serving you now. Because think about the Six of Cups here. This is not a card. This is as good memories. It's to help you remember that there is potential for happiness, of course. But the past at the same time is always going to hold you back, especially if there's no reason to hold on to those things that have certain boundaries too. Like, if there's certain boundaries that are keeping you from having happiness, that is keeping space. That's the part where making sacrifice comes in. And of course, you want this new love. You want to start over. You want to heal. But you got to let go of the past disappointments, the shame, everything that has come from this past energy, from this past relationship. Sorry, y'all. Something went down on my phone. But anyway, get the tripod. Anyway, but yeah, the past is what's going to be holding y'all back. The past is what's going to be, it's going to get in the way. And like I said, soulmates are mirrors. This person's doing this too because of their past relationship. You're not just the exception. You guys are both doing it. This is a big mirroring concept. But in order for this to change, you have to be the person that changes. You have to be the person that releases the old. You have to be the person that seeks new growth. Right? That's the best you could do. You can never change anybody. You can't force anybody to do anything differently. So it's time to let go of the old way of thinking, the old way of being because of something that happened in your past relationship, and embrace potential newness, potential happiness here. And giving yourself self-love as well. Basically, the King of Cups loves himself more than anything. He loves everyone very very deeply, but he loves himself the most. Because he understands that he is a vessel for those energies, for those emotions that he experiences, and in order for him to experience them fully, he has to experience them without judgment, without condition. Now, the other person here with the King of Swords, practically what I said. This person's very, very, clear on their truth, very absolute, very sure of themselves. They're aware of their individuality. They're very aware of their truths. They're aware of their independence, of their strengths. They're very strong-willed individuals over here. They're very similar to you. You can be very strong-willed yourself, and I think you are. That's why this is kind of like this is a dynamic that's pretty damn powerful. But at any moment there could be like petty arguments because you guys are just both trying to win, which is why we saw that Five of Swords earlier, remember? So that makes sense why we saw that Five of Swords. But is it worth having all those arguments just to win? Or, why are we having arguments at all, trying to one-up each other? You're both very powerful. Don't get intimidated by that. Neither one of y'all, anyway. But this person is intelligent. But this person is coming from a place of also protection. They're trying to protect themselves. The King of Swords, I always see them, they're always trying to protect the softest part of them, which is their emotions, which is understandably the underlying energy of the King of Cups. The King of Swords always has a King of Cups in them. And the King of Cups always has a small little King of Swords in him too. They all have a little piece of them, but what they specialize in is what their suit is, right? Which is the swords, truth, communication, ideas, perspective, knowledge, logic. they are definitely strong in those areas with this person, but they're also very extremely protective. They will say no in a heartbeat. And it's because they have been hurt before, or they have experienced something that makes them want to protect themselves, which is why they're not getting outside this comfort zone yet. Doesn't mean forever. They're aware of their comfort, of their stability. They're aware of their abilities to love. They're aware of their independence. They're aware of their strengths, but they're also trying to embrace their weaknesses. They're trying to embrace their emotional areas. But they're coming at it in a very defensive and perhaps even offensive way, because that is a place that they are still looking to heal. Same as you, in a way. But the King of Swords has to address the truth and understand the truth, the reason why that they are the way they are, so they can release it, because that's going to keep them from growth as well. But right now, the focus is on you, Scorpio. It's never the other person. It's always on you. And what needs to change for you is the same thing that needs to change for them. But you can't make them do it. You have to, right? And I don't see you guys trying to force anybody to do anything that they don't want to do. I'm not saying that for that. But, I don't want people saying, like, well, why don't they just do it? It's because you have to do it too. You're no exception. Everybody is a projection in our lives. Everything projects what we need to see to be the best version of ourselves. And you're coming up at your energy, which is not a problem, but that just means it's time to cleanse. It's time to cleanse. But alright, family, let's pull this Whispers of Love card, let you guys get out of here and enjoy your couple, enjoy your boo. For those of you that have a boo. This could be anybody, like I said. It could be friends, it could be family, it could be anybody. Your neighbor. But anyway, you guys have, turn on your heart light. Allow yourself in this moment to reflect on a time when you experienced love, and that would be the Six of Cups. Seeing the past as something happy and something that's good to remember, instead of using it as a reason to act or to be or to think a certain way that keeps you from having it keeps you from being happy, it keeps you from experiencing love. Six of Cups' only purpose is to remind you of the good times, to remind you of the times when you were happy, when there was potential for happiness, when there was happiness, when you felt that, in a time of innocence, right? So reflect on how much you've grown. Those are good things to remember. It's never meant to the Six of Cups anyway, it's never meant to remind you of pain. The Three of Swords is. But the Six of Cups to me doesn't remind you of pain. It reminds you of the good times. And those good memories can still be reasons why you have a certain guard up. Or a reason why you don't have, you just hold on to stuff. And I feel like this is saying, like, turn on your heart light by, like, letting this newness come, letting this, your heart in, like, letting those emotions flow, being the King of Cups, being yourself, right? 100%. Allowing your heart to just sing. And it's okay. Let their heart sing the gospel, or sing whatever it is, sing some opera. Let that song out, because your heart is happy. You're happy. I could feel it. I could feel this is my person kind of energy. This is my person, and you're allowed to feel that way. But you have to let the old go that's keeping you from letting yourself feel that way.